How's it going, folks? So today I want to discuss training requirements to own a firearm and why they are a bad idea, why we should oppose them. I want to start off by saying I'm actually in favor of training, and I'm actually in favor of people learning how to operate their firearm safely. What I'm opposed to is the mandate of this training, and it's for a number of reasons. The very first reason being is that many of these people who are pushing this, when they say they just want people to not be untrained when they purchase their firearm, what they really mean and what they really should be saying is, well, unless you are a particular agent of the state or a private security contractor that is protecting some millionaire or some billionaire, then you shouldn't have a firearm. It's pretty much what they should be saying and would have to say if they were being honest about it. And there's plenty of reason to back this up. Give an example: Rosie O'Donnell back in the 90s and early 2000s. She's very much pro gun control. And actually, back in the 90s, her bodyguard got caught not having all the certifications to legally be able to carry his firearm. Yet she was upset that he was not being legally allowed to carry his firearm. He got in trouble for that, I guess. Not sure the exact details, but I do know she was complaining about that because her bodyguard needed that firearm to protect her. But that's some courtesy she couldn't extend to everybody else. Another example. If you've been discussing this for a long time, you discuss this with people who say training requirements. So as a counter proposal, what you can do is bring up, well, you say there's a flood of guns in this country, and you say that you're concerned that people are getting guns and not knowing how to use them safely. Idea: bring in firearms instructors and set up training programs in middle school and high school, and make that firearm safety requirement a prerequisite to graduate high school. These people will then change up their tune. They'll say something along the lines of, oh, well, not everybody's going to have a gun, though. Excuse me, didn't you just say flooded guns in this country and you just want to make sure that people who do have firearms are trained? From somebody coming from the side of the aisle, it's constantly talking about stuff like common sense and reasonable. I mean, you sure threw that out the window real quick. Another thing they'll bring up is, well, you're forcing guns on people. Yeah, again, coming from the side of the aisle that's constantly trying to force their way on other people who are making choices that they don't like, I'll take that with a grain of salt, too. So these people really don't care. They don't really care about any of the other requirements, by the way, that they're pushing. All these things is a barrier to firearm ownership that they can throw up. Example, Massachusetts. I did a video on this actually a while ago. This girl in Massachusetts went through the trouble to legally get her firearms for personal protection. She had an abusive stalker ex-boyfriend. Well, her roommates found her firearms. Well, they went into her room while she was away, saw the Trump hat, and then decided to search her room, and they found the firearms. They subsequently called the police. The police came out, checked her certifications. Turns out she was 100% legit on owning those firearms. That was still not good enough. These people, there's no pleasing these people. And the only thing you're going to do by conceding anything to them is just reinforce their stupidity. These people don't operate in good faith. Okay, so the second reason you opposed to firearms training mandates before owning a firearm is there's a whole wealth of information when you buy the firearm or even prior to buying the firearm, so much so that you really don't need to mandate it. Think about this. You're going to spend $400, $500, $600,000, $2,000 on a piece of hardware, and you're not even going to learn how it operates, not once. You're not going to take it out to the range, not once. Please. Now, granted, there are a few people that will do that. First off, they're not the rule, they're the exception of the rule. And second, usually these are the very same people pushing firearms training mandates when really they themselves should be getting off their own fourth point of contact and learning about the firearms themselves. Because they are the actual problem, not everybody else. But even when going and purchasing the firearm, you get a brand new firearm, which most of the time you are, you're going to have one of these things that comes with the firearm. The manual to it. It's going to have a whole section dedicated to safety. And most of them are going to put the various state warnings in there as well. For each state that's required to have. Trust me, they're going to take care of you on that. And they want your continued business. And they're not going to get it if, say, you accidentally kill yourself or you are in jail because you accidentally killed somebody else. Or you're just plain traumatized because you had an ND into your TV and now you blame firearm ownership as being the problem of it, as being too dangerous for you. Yeah, they're not going to get your continued business. That's the same with the FFL. The FFL will be more than willing to walk you through how to safely handle your firearm. The FFL usually has a bunch of cards and pamphlets for people who are in the business of teaching firearm safety as well. You have the internet. There's a ton of resources online that will help you with firearm safety. There's just already too much there that you can't say you didn't get any sort of firearms training and that you needed it mandated. Third reason, these mandates are often a barrier in a time of emergency. Well, let's talk about some examples there. During the LA riots, there were a lot of people who never thought they'd need a gun before in their life and then rushed out to the store to go purchase one, only to find out there was a waiting period and they really needed a firearm then and there. Another example is actually more recent. 2020. A bunch of people went out to buy firearms they never thought they'd need before due to two things. The Wuhan plague and the riots. So, yeah. Now, granted, I've said this time and time again that once you start becoming of age, you do need to think about firearm ownership for personal protection. And even when things are calm, especially when things are calm, that's the time when you need to get your firearm and your training for it if you so choose. Now, I'm very well aware that there are people who say firearm ownership is not for them and they've actually thought about it. These aren't the people that are going out last minute and buying a firearm. These aren't the people that you see rushing into the gun store on the onset of COVID to purchase a firearm to protect all the toilet paper they've stocked up. And I'm not trying to mock the people who finally saw the light and decided, hey, I might need to be responsible for my own safety. I actually, hope you remember this going forward, when we do get kind of back to some sort of normalcy, assuming we do, assuming that this isn't one of the contributing factors to the complete collapse of the U.S. So there are three basic reasons for you right there as to why you should be opposed to firearm ownership mandates. So thank you all for watching. Y'all take it easy out there and have a great day.